Men are going to sleep around and be praised for it, while women should be virginal and virtuous. Demand everything of women and nothing of men. How did the sexual revolution respond to this double standard? It removed all standards for both men and women and demand that women behave just as promiscuously as promiscuous men. So the sexual revolution became a war.
The core of sexual revolution was the concept, radical at the time in 1960s, that women just like men enjoyed intercourse and had needs. Feminists asserted that single women had the same sexual desires and should have the same sexual freedom as everyone else in society. The pale revolutionary breakthrough allowed women to separate intercourse from procreation. Let's hear a little bit more about the sexual revolution and what it entails and how it really did make a huge shift in society.
The sexual revolution was two things that happened at the same time. So one was the enormous material changes of the second half of the 20th century, the most important one being the pill, which obviously is transformative, and I don't think we recognise typically quite how transformative it was. For the first time in our species' history, it suddenly becomes possible for women to control their fertility themselves invisibly. And I think that actually the woman who appears to be fertile, but has in fact suspended her fertility, is in a funny kind of way almost a different biological creature entirely. And she enters the world in the late 1960s.
Do you think the sexual revolution really spawned this?
I think
it
you're
completely
onto something, Mike.
took the procreation part out of sex. Now it's just have fun, free love,
Exactly.
use birth control, abortion, do whatever you need to do to keep kids out of it. And so now sex is no longer tied to procreation.
Exactly. Its seeds were, like in Aldous Huxley's book, to turn sex into a dopamine hit instead of, and that's where the sacredness dropped off of sex, right?
So it is clear how much the 1960s has shifted society into what we witness today in 2025. This is where they introduced the liberated woman. By definition, liberation just means freedom. Now, a liberated woman doesn't always mean she's promiscuous, although a promiscuous female is liberated and willingly objectify herself for her own pleasure, needs, or agenda. What does the liberated female looks like today who is sexually free? And this is where we're going to take a look at how they live their life, what their mindset is, and why they feel that hookup culture is also very important.
Welcome to Hoology 101, where today I've learned it's okay to be a hoe. So I have a few different hoes that I've come across, and I'm realizing how they maneuver. And so I want you to know too, so you're aware when you recognize them and when you see them. You have the hoe that's having the hoe phase, which I've learned recently by watching the Nothing But the Truth podcast, that a hoe phase is when you're just doing something to try to figure things out and you're younger and you're just trying to explore and you're trying to realize and try to come to yourself, right? And like see what's out there. You're just having fun. No connection, no ties. But then you have the attention hoe. The attention hoe just likes to be seen and likes to be in the mix. And so she fucks to just be around. Then you have the trip hoe. I call her the trip private girl hoe. She likes to do the private planes, the private yachts, the private things, get the passport stamp. She's just a passport hoe. She just likes to do things that her money can't buy, but her pussy can. So she finds people that just likes to fly bitches out, and she does it for that reason. But then you have the struggle hoe, and I like the struggle hoe, and I respect the struggle hoe because that's more relatable, because it's like she does things because her kids need things. Around school supply time, school clothes, and Christmas, she does things to make sure they don't go without. So I kind of like her a little bit. I see her angle. I see her whole angle. But then you have the hoe that's a groupie hoe that only fucks men that have a name, and they get nothing out of it really, but they do get to say that they slept with so-and-so, right? So they do it for different reasons. Then you have the money hoe. She's straight monetary, straight prostitute, straight OnlyFans, Backpage, whatever, and she just sells ass, and she's like, that's my career. Fuck what you're talking about. And I like her too. She's cool because she's still walking away with a little bit of currency. But the worst hoe that I've found, and I mean I've found a lot of them, was a broke hoe.
I want to talk about the importance of a hoe phase, because I feel like lately we've been demonizing hoe phases and just purity culture. That like we've been demonizing exploring yourself and exploring your sexuality and exploring anything, like everything. And I'm not hating on monogamy. No hate on monogamy, because
no, fuck monogamy.
No hate on monogamy.
All the hate on monogamy.
No, I hate forced monogamy. I hate
all the hate on monogamy because fuck the system. We're deconstructing everything.
How are you expected to stay with one person for the rest of your life when you haven't even been with anyone else? You haven't.
Hot take. Half of the reason why we keep championing monogamy is because men don't want to deal with the fact that they're bad at sex. And so if you have no other points of reference, then you can't say that your partner's bad at sex if they're the only person that you've ever had sex with. Because why can you with a partner go and sleep around with everyone he wants to before meeting the love of his life, but you have to wait until marriage?
Phases teach empathy. You need your hoe phase to truly learn the depths of empathy. I believe that one's hoe phase sets you up for a life of being empathetic. Let me explain. When I say hoeing, I mean simply doing things for the plot. And that's what that hoe phase is all about, is like, is this person the person you're going to be with forever? Maybe not, maybe, but you know, just have fun, flirt, have a good time. Being a hoe is not about necessarily being promiscuous. It's just about not necessarily considering all the consequences of every action because you're young and you have the safety to make dubious decisions. Get off the phone. Go outside and go be a hoe. Go. Get out of here wearing your orthopedic shoes talking about, I gotta wear a sweater. Shut up. Go get mono.
Controversial statement, everybody should have a whole phase. Everybody should have a whole phase in their life. Like, if you have not had a whole phase yet, I would advise you to have a whole phase. A lot of growth and maturity happens during whole phases. I promise you. It really does. And you actually meet some really cool people during your whole phase too. Like, and don't let anybody make you feel bad about going through a whole phase. Because I done been through plenty of them. I can't even hold you. But yeah, I think everybody should experience a whole phase. Like, everybody should just experience a phase where you just fucking with somebody because you want to. Like, I ain't never saw the problem. It's a lot easier to do when you're younger too. Okay? Do it while you're young. Don't, unless you got married young and you know you got divorced, so now you out, you know, just do you. Just know that it's a lot easier when you're younger.
But yeah, I just was a slut. I'm sorry. So yeah, you think everybody have a whole phase they go through? Fuck no. No. There's too many people in the world to think everybody is a hoe. Honestly, because I was an actual hoe, the shit people call hoe phases is not hoeing to me. Like, y'all be like, oh, I fucked 2 niggas in a month and that was my hoe phase. Girl, I fucked like 20 niggas in a month. That's nothing. We used to fuck 2 niggas in a day. Like, what you mean 2 niggas in a month was your hoe phase? That wasn't a hoe phase, bitch. I was in a relationship at that point. You was in a 2-week relationship with both them niggas. Like, nah. It was none of that. So I think everybody hoe phase is, if you define it different, then yeah, but I think some women don't be on that.
Please don't ever ask me what my body count is, okay? I don't know. I'd be lying. If I ever told you a number, it was probably a lie. I'd be lying so much, I convinced myself. Who knows? I'm not keeping count. I'm not making a dinner reservation for everybody who's been blessed with the privilege of being between my legs, okay? I don't need a head count. Sometimes I don't even need a memory, okay?
Hookup culture is very prevalent since the sex revolution and has been a big part of society. Many females participate in it or push for younger women to as well, but not enough do we hear about the consequences behind it. Which is what we're going to be exploring here, is how is it affecting females after they indulge in hookup culture, especially when they're in their prime years. The consequences of hookup culture extend beyond fleeting dissatisfaction, manifesting in tangible psychological distress. Surveys among college students reveal widespread reports of negative emotional outcomes post-hookup, including regret and diminished self-esteem. Another study found that 78% of women and 72% of men who are engaged in uncommitted intercourse experience regret afterwards. So what this shows you is a lot of these females who engage in hookup culture actually end up regretting it. And a lot of them do it as well to prove a point that they have autonomy over their body.
A lot of the time we feel like in order to feel sexually liberated, I must prove a point. And I almost lost my soul to that at the cost of trying to prove a point to myself and to those around me that I do have liberation and I am, a sensual girl, and nobody's going to tell me what to do with my body and my life. And so to prove that point, I'm going to go and I'm going to have meaningless interactions with people. As I grow and I realize there is a lot of heaviness that comes with meaningless intimacy.
Another thing to point out that stats have also made clear is that the relationship between your history with different encounters with men does actually affect the marital satisfaction that you find in relationships or in your marriage. And as you can see here, the higher the woman her body count is, the lower fulfillment she will have in that marriage. Which also explains why a lot of females regret engaging in hookup culture, as they're also less likely to get married in the first place. Outside of searching for a dopamine hit with men, females also look for something more when they're engaging in hookup culture.
Her life, I always wanted to be viewed as hot. And I think a lot of us can relate, feeling inadequate or wanting to be seen as sexy or to be lusted after because you were overlooked in your younger years or made fun of for things that were inadvertently sexual, like your body. And then we all get to a point of maturity where it becomes enough, where you realize all you are is lusted after, and you can't even beg for any more than that. Some of us capitalize on it, and what I mean by capitalize is playing our strengths. It's definitely something I've done for a really long time. Used people's lust over me to my advantage, and a lot of us do that. It works great, get a lot of free things out of it, opportunities, but at what cost, you know? All I think a lot of us want to be seen for is our sense of humor, intelligence, hard work, no one wanting to get to know my personality and my stories and all the cool stuff I've experienced. And I've never cared about this until more recently. Sexuality was like a really big part of everything that I did, and I didn't care that no one wanted to get to know me because it was like my choice to keep people at a distance. It was easier that way. I could get the benefits of intimacy and role-playing relationship without the hard work and like the sacrifice to give up my lifestyle and what I wanted to do. It was so fun always being the sex friend, the Samantha Jones friend, being the friend with all the advice and the stories. And I think a part of me will always be that, but I'm just putting it on pause for now.
What is my last thought? Essentially, the sexual revolution definitely answers a lot of questions why the hookup culture even exists in the first place, as the pill created a space for females to indulge in intercourse without there being consequences behind it, and that is also the birth of hookup culture. They wanted to be equal to men, but you can never be equal to a man. So whatever a man wants or whatever a man indulges doesn't mean that you are going to get the same results and you're not going to get the same satisfaction as men do. At some point, females do start to crave for human connection outside of lust, but when they don't get that because you only engage in lust for so long, because men essentially will always go back to being traditional, now you're stuck feeling regretful, embarrassed, and no committed relationship.
Is there a such thing as a hoe phase, or is a hoe gonna be a hoe regardless? It ain't no hoe phase. Women slow down when they realize, I am so old, I'm really getting the scum of the club, the scum of the job, the scum of the church. Only motherfuckers on thirsty mode want me. That's when they slow down a little bit. Because after they fuck about 40 of the thirsty mode guys, they be like, okay, I've had my fill. But as long as they feel like they're desirable, a hoe gonna be a hoe.